There are a few things here that I really want you to pay attention to this. This is where you can really learn and absolutely help someone that has ADHD.
ADHD, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is one of the most common neurodevelopmental conditions that affect people's behavior. And as a language teacher, I'm always looking for different ways, to understand my students, their learning difficulties, their medical conditions, so I can adapt my materials, resources, activities to really suit their learning styles and their needs. If you're a teacher and you've taken a teaching qualification, you know that not many schools are going to teach us classroom management or how to deal with certain conditions or learning difficulties, such as dyslexia, ADHD, autism. So I'm Mary, and today I've decided to talk to an ADHD business coach based in the USA, and she's doing a great job in helping ADHD entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And she's going to give us a lot of tips, of strategies and resources that we can use with our students, just to make their lives better and to help them reach their full potential. She's Jessi Romero, and I'm sure you're going to love her as much as I do. So don't forget to go and check her website and her social media after this interview. Hello, Jessi. So welcome to my channel, and thanks for accepting my invitation to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm super honored to be here with you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. So can we start with you introducing yourself and telling us a bit of your connection to ADHD?
So I'm Jessi Romero. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm a mother. I have a 3-year-old who I suspect may have ADHD, and my husband also has ADHD, and I have ADHD. So I would say I'm surrounded by ADHD people, and I am an ADHD business coach. So I help entrepreneurs that have ADHD how to run their business, how to do it in their way that meets their brain. So that is my specialty. That's why I'm here going to talk to you about what I have learned could really help people, students with ADHD.
Most of my audience, they are teachers, and actually we are not prepared to deal with this type of students, so right. Even people, teachers that have a degree or have training qualifications, this is not really something that they tackle during the courses. What would you say are the struggles that we can, notice, we can see that they are most common on students with ADHD?
I think it's important to note that there's two parts of ADHD. There is the ADHD Hyper, which is what everyone thinks of when they think of ADHD. You think of the little boy that can't stay still in class. Yeah. The one that's always getting into trouble, the one that talks too much, the one that seems like he has bad behavior. That's what we think of when we think of ADHD.
It's true.
And then there's inattentive ADHD, which does not look anything like that. They can stay perfectly still, but they're not there with you. They're caught in their head. They're looking out the window. They're playing with their thumb. They're bored. But they can look like model students. They can look like their behavior is good. Yeah. They're kind. They like the teacher, but they're struggling silently. If you want to try to pinpoint if any of your students have ADHD, you got to make sure you're not just looking for the loud, fidgety, bad boy, but also the ones that just seem like it's like, hello.
So how would you say that this affects language learning or, learning in general?
Usually both of these students, their minds are going at 1,000 miles per hour compared to a student that does not have ADHD. So this causes a lot of problems like being very easily distracted, right? Also, it causes problems with memory. You could have told them, okay, we're going to start in 5 minutes and you got to put your pen down. And they say, okay, but they have problems with memory. It's a part of their brain called the working memory. And it's that part of the brain that, holds little things like that. Like, I'm carrying my phone, I'm going to go put my phone to charge, and then I walk into the other room and I forget what I was going to do. Right. That's your working memory. So it's not that the student didn't listen to you. It's not that they weren't paying attention. It's not that they didn't want to do it. It's that they forgot. You see? So this is hard for a teacher, I imagine, because it looks like, oh my God, they're not listening to me. How many times do I have to tell them? It's frustrating, right? But in their end, they're like, oh man, that's right. She did tell me that. And I completely forgot, as if it never existed.
Wow, so that's very tricky, for us to recognize. Tricky. Because the thing is, some students, they don't even have a diagnosis, because it's easier for us when there is a student that comes to us and, and the coordinator, the academic director, they tell us, look, this student has dyslexia or autism or, any other type of learning difficulty or disability. So we can do the research and we can try to help them. But that's the thing. Sometimes I know that they are undiagnosed.
I didn't know that I had ADHD as a child, and I'm not the only one. And I think for me, it was a little bit harder because I'm a first-generation American, and my parents did not know any English. Whenever we would have teacher-parent conferences, I would have to translate for my parents what the teacher's saying.
Wow.
So it was difficult because my parents were only hearing what I was understanding from the teacher and then saying to them. So I'm sure there was something lost in the translation that they didn't get, that I was really struggling. And they didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Wow. And what would be your advice then for us teachers? How could we adapt, let's say, our lessons or the materials or the styles of teaching, to better help them?
There are a few things here that I really want you to pay attention to this, because this is where you can really, really learn and absolutely help someone that has ADHD. And by the way, these things that I'm about to share with you, they help anyone. They would help any brain understand something better. But I would say they're almost a must, a necessity for an ADHD brain or any other type of neurodivergent brain. And one of those is that because our brain is going in so many different miles an hour in so many different places, the question is, well, how do I get their attention, right? How do I help them focus? So here are some of those ways. Some of the ways of doing that would be making sure that what you're asking is clear and very short, very clear instructions. And I would say over communicate it. Like, just assume they don't know. Over communicate how. The second thing that I would say is the most important is making it visual, because our brains, when we think about words, like our brain, like taking in words compared to taking in an example, an image, something we can make an image even for ourselves in our brain, that's always going to be the winner, and that's going to stick with our head. In your lessons, if you're creating a lesson and you have the ability to put a picture or even draw a picture, a little icon, oh my God, that goes such a long way. That helps me understand immediately what you mean.
Okay, so especially for online lessons, so the same, right? We could use more photos instead of just text and just talking. So that's a great tip.
Yes, and I think it's good to have both. I think it's good to have the text and then have the graphic on top.
Okay.
Because that way I see the image and I connect the text to that image. And then it really gets sealed into my brain so much easier. And then I have a third one, which would be movement, because it may look rude, it may look like we are trying to get away from it, but I have this fidget toy, and you would think, what is she doing with this? Can I tell you, this is a secret weapon to my business, because when I am doing something boring, I need to do something with my hands.
Oh, right. And this helps you to auto-regulate, or this
oh my
helps
God.
you to... Okay.
It helps me focus. My mouth, my hands, my feet, they want to do something. So if I can sit on my computer and type away and be doing this with my thumb, that regulates me. If I don't do this and I have to sit on my hands, I'll sit on my hands, because if not, I'm playing with my hair, I'm moving my ring.
Okay.
I have to be fidgeting and moving.
I do have some teenagers, one of them I know that he's being diagnosed, and that's true. And to be honest, just now I'm connecting the dots. Because it's true that I'm talking to him and all the time he's doing something with his hand, but obviously he doesn't have a fidget toy, and probably he still doesn't know how to deal with that. So he's just doing things that he shouldn't be doing. So with the phone, with the water, with. So that's a fantastic tip. Amazing. And what about parents? So for parents that are worried about, learning. So if they see that their kids are struggling, they cannot learn, and if they've got a diagnosis, what would be your advice, for them to help motivate their kids? Because I can imagine that sometimes, obviously, especially if you don't know what you've got, probably you are going to be very frustrated.
I would say in a environment where you're like at home, it's so tricky because the environment makes such a difference for us. If the environment is chaotic, it's so hard for me to concentrate. Like you complimented on my desk, and the reason why I have this desk so nice is because if I come and the desk is to my liking, to my style, my personality, the colors I like, if it feels inviting, that makes it so much easier for my brain to show up and focus. So I would say as a parent, make sure that the environment is inviting for your child and not distracting. If there's too much distractions around, it may be difficult for them. And then a lot of ADHD parents homeschool their kids for some of these reasons because they have more freedom to accommodate their kids. Okay. And one of those accommodations that may look silly in a classroom with lots of students versus at home, right, would be movement. Some ADHD entrepreneurs that I work with, they have the standing desk and they have the treadmills, so they can be walking while they're working, and that works amazing for them. You need to allow your children to move. Move is not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's funny because this is the impression that we've got is the opposite. The kids shouldn't be moving to be able to concentrate.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's all the opposite of what we would think.
Yeah.
And then when you put yourself in an ADHD person's shoes, it's like we know that this is wrong because other people don't do this, but it really helps us. Yeah. And so we're kind of met with this internal struggle of, we don't want people to make fun of us. We don't want people to miscommunicate or misunderstand why we're doing it. But this helps us. So shouldn't we do that? So really letting your kid move and make it fun for them is so helpful. Boredom equals bad for ADHD brains.
Right. This is very clear.
When we get bored, it's really almost hard for us to keep our mind engaged. Like scientifically, our brain, the activity in our brain has lessened. So if we're getting bored, that's why, you may see some students falling asleep in your class. That's why you may see lots of kids doodle and they'll start drawing on their paper. Why? Because they're bored, but they want to stay awake so bad. They want to listen to what you're saying. They want to be a good student. So the only way they can do that is by entertaining their brains.
Entertaining themselves, yes.
So allow it. If you see a kid drawing, be like, oh, this is good. You want to give them something to play with. You want to tell them, and I have a resource for you guys, and I really want you guys to watch these videos. They're very short. And it's basically how an ADHD child describes what they're going through. They describe their ADHD in a class setting, which is really awesome for you guys.
You mentioned the resources. So do you have any recommendations?
I guess it depends, if you're online or, in class.
Face-to-face.
But I do have some resources just so that you guys can understand how to really help your ADHD students and understand a little bit about what's going on so you can really prepare them. One last thing that I remembered I read somewhere, where if you are giving a student like a task and say you're going with the whole class, the attention span of that student is shorter than the other students. So what you can do, because since our brains go so fast, it's actually hard for us to go at a slower speed that you may be going at that speed for everyone. This happens a lot in reading. Like when we were reading in class, the speed that everyone else was reading was too slow for me. I would read way too fast. And then it was hard for me to slow it down. And if I slow it down, then I get bored. And then if I get bored, I check out, right?
Yeah, obviously.
So one thing that you can do as a teacher, as a parent, is you give them a task. So you say, okay, I want you to read this section, and after this section, I want you to write 3 things that you took out from there.
So give like an extra task.
Yes.
For them if they finish earlier, so they know they've got something to do if they finish earlier, so they don't get distracted. Or that's great.
Yeah, it helps them stay engaged. So yes, that I think is gonna really help you guys. And last thing, behavior is communication. Whatever behavior you are seeing from a student, it's communicating something.
Yeah.
And this is easier for a parent to do because a teacher has so many students and it's different. But for a parent, it's so easy for us to get mad at the behavior we're seeing, to get frustrated at the behavior, but we don't think about, well, what is it communicating? So it's a great reminder to remember, wait a minute, if they're starting to frustrate me about this, it must be because they're having a hard time. What could it be that they're having a hard time with? Yeah. And that really helps.
Well, amazing. So people, don't forget to check her website out. I'm also going to link, social media. She is a superstar on Instagram. Loads of very nice and engaging posts. So Jessi, thanks a lot for your time. I really hope this video is going to help you to spread the word, and help more people.
Yay. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I was able to do this. Hope you got something out of it.
Oh, thank you. Bye.